Maybe I could ask you a question because you mentioned Ram Dass. Many of you may know that he had a devastating stroke that impaired his speech. And what's interesting is here's an individual who's, again, spent an immense amount of time on introspection, but he said until he had the stroke, he never really saw clearly, I think, or something along those lines, because it caused him to gain insights into what not only did he lose, but also some of the fact that he wasn't there, and now he's very aware of being present. And this gets back to an earlier conversation, which is we see people who spend an immense amount of time on introspection, yet this issue of ego still is a very heavy burden they have, and maybe...
Well, there's even people who have a spiritual practice, but perhaps they meditate twice a day and so on for years. There is still very often seems to be an inability to integrate that into their everyday lives. So you can become a very good meditator, and I've met quite a few. They're fantastic. They can sit still for much longer than I can, and they can sit quite perfectly still for 1 or 2 hours in a lotus position, which I wouldn't be able to do, and they go. And the example that's sometimes given, there's the man doing his meditation on metta. Metta meditation is a meditation on loving kindness, which is you spreading your, may everybody here in this house be well and happy, may I be well and happy, may everybody in this city be well and happy. So you spread out the desire for everybody to be well and happy. This is the loving kindness meditation. It's quite a lovely meditation. And there's the man doing his metta loving kindness meditation, and the door opens and his 7-year-old daughter comes in and says, "Daddy, Daddy, can't you leave me alone? Can't you see I'm doing my loving kindness meditation?" a typical example of not having integrated your spiritual practice into everyday life. And this is why I recommend mini meditations during the day, just a few seconds at a time, when you actually become present. So, for example, I recommend certain activities that you do habitually. Why not, instead of using those activities as a means to an end, give them your fullest attention so that they become an end in themselves. For example, washing your hands. You can actually be amazed when you give it your full attention how pleasant it is to wash your hands. There's the feel of the water, very pleasant. There's perhaps the scent of the soap. There's the feeling of touch. And you may also wet your face. I do that always when I wash my hands. The cool water on your face after you've washed your hands. And then you dry your hands. It is a very pleasant and enjoyable experience. Or walking up the stairs, if there's a stairs somewhere in where you work or study or at home, every time you walk up the stairs, why not, instead of making it a means to an end because you want to get to the top of the stairs, so just be aware of every step and just enjoy the movement of it. It's very, very pleasant. Waiting, I recommend that whenever you're waiting for something, instead of waiting, use that opportunity and use it as a mini meditation. So instead of waiting basically means you want the next moment, but not this one. This is why you're waiting. Otherwise, you wouldn't be waiting, you would just be there. So when you're waiting for the elevator, when you're waiting, there's something pushing you inside you that wants to get ahead to the next moment, but it can't get there because the elevator isn't here. And so when you push for the elevator, and instead of waiting, why not just be there, totally present, without straining away from the now internally, want to get to the elevator which isn't here. Just use that moment and just become fully, maybe take a few breaths, give attention to your breath. It's a wonderful way of taking attention away from thinking when you don't want it and don't need it. The Buddha already recommended breath meditation, which simply means to observe or to feel yourself breathing. And you will notice you cannot think and feel yourself breathing. It's either one or the other. So when you're standing in front of the elevator, take your attention away from the mind, which means it moves into the present moment. Take a few conscious breaths and enjoy this moment of not waiting. Or the supermarket checkout counter, which is a source of frustration for many people.
Well, that's where I read the Inquirer.
Yes, that could be an escape into some kind of, it's mostly lies in there, so that's... So these are mini meditations. I think they are very helpful. Probably I would prefer, I believe these are more effective to incorporate many such mini meditations into your everyday life than to have separate, totally separate compartments in your life. One is your spiritual practice and the rest, and then there's the rest of your life. I'm not saying the mini meditation means you cannot also have a spiritual practice, but if you want to choose either one or the other, I would prefer the mini meditations because they become part of your everyday life. So you're less likely to have two compartments in your life.